Welcome to the video lecture of Big Data Analytics. Today we will see a topic of writable interface, that is unit number 3. Myself Bhanu Prakash, working as Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Vignan Institute of Information Technology, Visakhapatnam. So coming to the lecture contents of the day, we are going to learn about something related to your writables, but before we will try to learn about the basics of writables. That means what helps you to implement writables in your Hadoop. So let's understand each and every topic very clearly so that we can implement our writables in the programming. So let's see, we have something called as serialization over here, and we have wrapper classes, we have Hadoop writables as well as implementation. So writables is something which we will define it at the end of the lecture, but before that we will try to understand the basic concepts related to serialization as well as wrapper classes. So as I told you earlier, by the end of this lecture, student will be able to understand about all the concepts that are mentioned above very clearly, and the objective of the lecture remains the same. So now understand the concept of serialization. In general, when you are communicating between the machines, as you all know that information that is being generated inside a machine can be of a different language for an external user. I mean, in my perspective, I will write a code in different programming language, I will use different applications to work with on the machine which are of different kind of languages, but internally this machine can only understand ones and zeros. So we call them as bytes. So let me put it in clear way, system can only understand ones and zeros, whereas a user cannot understand that. So he needs a language to communicate with the machine. Now what if this machine wants to communicate with another machine using some network? So assume that a PC or a system is communicating with another machine with the help of a network, which means a data when it is going out of your machine has to be transformed with a form of bytes only, that is zeros and ones only. Byte streams of information can only be transmitted over the network. You cannot send simply high level language data through the network just like that. Even though you are sending a file or even though you are sending a small message, everything will be converted into byte. So byte forms. So that will be transmitted over the network to the other machine. Now this serialization will play that kind of a prominent role while transmitting your data in the form of bytes to the other machine. Means you have been implementing different applications in Java, where as it is an object oriented programming, everything will be converted in terms of objects. So communication, implementations, everything will be done inside the machine, inside the application in the form of objects, and those objects need to be transmitted over the network. Let us understand, my application which is residing in one machine has to communicate with another application, that is 2 residing on another machine. Assume that this is a source and this is a destination, both of them are connected with the help of a network. So you are creating your own application over here with the help of in the form of objects and all, and as well other machine is also performing the same with the help of objects. It is making their own programming, but when you are communicating these objects into the network, this will be converted into byte or byte streams. So serialization is something which will help you to convert your objects into byte stream format. So your data will be transmitted over the network to the other machines or to the other applications in the form of byte streams. That is actually the basic concepts of your serialization. So let us understand that in a definition way. So I am converting my objects into a stream of bytes, I call it as a serialization, and if you perform the same in a reverse manner, that means you are receiving byte streams and converting them back to the objects, we call it as deserialization. So one of the major concepts to be learned before understanding Hadoop writables. So that is my serialization. So, what exactly it will help you and how it will be helping you to work with writables is depending on your requirement, you will be creating objects for the classes. Now, for communication between applications over the network, you are using these objects for the communication, but that object cannot travel through the network. You need to convert that into something called as a byte streams into the network. So, with an example we will see. Now, assume that I have a PC where I told you with the help of applications you are going to create objects, and that is being transmitted through the network to the other computer. Now, as of now with this example, when I am communicating from this machine to this machine, if I am sending my data out of this machine, I call it as doing something called as serialization, because serialization is something which is converting your objects into stream of bytes. Network only hold bytes, not any other format of data. So, this process is called serialization. Suppose you are receiving information from the other end, that means if that machine is communicating information to you, so you are receiving the bytes from here. Earlier you are sending the information in the form of bytes, now you are receiving the data in the form of bytes, but with the bytes you can't perform the programming, you need it in the form of objects. So, converting back it into object is called as deserialization. So, that is what it is. Converting the information from objects to stream is called as serialization, and converting it back is called as deserialization. Now, let us understand a new concept called as wrapper classes. See, before I explain this, we try to recollect what we have learned in the earlier slides. I told you, you cannot communicate object in the network because there is one more application existing over that end. So, this object cannot travel to that application, it is not possible. So, we have taken the help of bytes, means you are communicating in terms of objects. Now, the point is, whenever you create data, data will be available of different types, whether it can be integer data, string data, a boolean data, or a kind of floating type of data which is being created inside your application. How that will be converted into objects again, that is a main point to understand. So, your information will be available in any of the data types, but that needed to be converted into objects before you perform any kind of operations. So, your data is not going to reside in the form of its own type, any kind of data need to be converted into objects. So, type of your data will be objects from now. So, that object will be communicated inside the application, as well as by converting that into stream of bytes will be communicated to the external applications. So, that is what the concept of wrapper classes is. What is the role of this wrapper class is, it will convert your data type into objects. So, most of you are aware of your primitive data types, much aware of them, like you know about integer type, you know about a floating type, you know about something called as byte, something called as boolean. So, you know all these things, right. So, these are nothing but data types which are helping you to store the data in that specific type of format. But now, what I am telling is all these things will be converted to objects, because you are going to implement the communication in the form of objects only. They are going to be communicated over the network in the form of bytes to the other applications on the other machines. So, these are all primitive data types, whatever you know. So, how many number of data types that are existing in Java, and how you are going to create an exact wrapper classes for those primitive types, we will see them with a neat sketch. So, let us see here, this is a basic hierarchy of wrapper classes that are existing over here. Now, everybody is aware of all these data types. Few of them I have just written in my previous slide, like byte, short, integer, long, float, double, everything is in terms of numbers. So, that will be falling into object category called number, and apart from that we have two more, which is a boolean one as well as a character one, like strings that are being implemented to carry out the information. So, that is one category, and we have boolean either to perform true or false values, we are taking this data. So, in this diagram you can see there are total number of 8 primitive data types or 8 wrapper classes that exist with a matching of your information. So let's see, byte, short, integer, long, float and double will be falling into number category, and you have a boolean and a character. Apart from these 6 you have 2 more. So in total we have total number of 8 different types of wrapper classes that exist, which are equal to your type of data or a primitive type of data that exists in Java. So we use 2 different mechanisms to perform a wrapping operation. Like as I told you, wrapper classes are more meant for converting your primitive data type values into objects. So to perform that operation, we use something called as auto boxing, where you are converting your primitive data types into objects. Okay. So now we have something called as unboxing. That means you are converting it back again. That means you are converting your wrapper class information into your primitive data type. Now to make it more easy to remember or understand, let's see what exactly the definition of a data type in Java and what exactly the replication definition of the same type in wrapper classes. We will see in that way so that we can remember, which means what I meant to tell is, for example, if I write something like int a, in general for any programming language you define it like this, which means you are defining a variable which is of type integer. What if I write like this? Maybe that kind of a type definition which is somehow new for you all, because you are very much aware of this kind of definitions. Now I'll say like in this way, like if integer is a primitive data type that is available in Java, now this one is a wrapper class, a definition that is available to replicate this int value in the form of integer. So hope it is clear. Now let's see what are all the different things that are available over here. So coming to this diagram, you can see I have mentioned 2 categories over here. One is your primitive data type, another one is your wrapper class. You can see the exact match of each and every individual primitive type with respect to the wrapper class. So I have written boolean, I have a boolean wrapper class over there. So there is no much difference, but you need to remember that whatever you have taken in your primitive type, you just add a capital letter to the name. So you can see this byte which is declared over here is exactly matching with the byte over here. That means you are going to convert every primitive data type into a wrapper class section. That means into an object. So if you write something called as byte, it's a primitive data type. If you convert the same into byte that has been defined like here, it means that data type is being converted into something called as. So let's move on to the implementation of writables. So before I start this, as we have seen 2 different concepts, one is serialization, another one is wrapper classes. So wrapper classes are something that converts your primitive data types into objects. Serialization is something which will help you to transmit your object into the network in the form of byte streams. So together we can understand a writable. You have your own definition. Like let's see, I am going to implement this interface which is a writable interface. We have 2 different functions in writable. First one is a read field, next one is write. As I told you, read fields is something when you are getting the data from the external sources. Write field is something when you are writing the data onto the external sources. For example, I have my local disk and I want to receive the data from the other machine and I have to store it to my local device, which means you will read the data which is coming in from your external sources and then you will write the same data onto the local disk. That is why you need 2 different individual functions to perform read or write operations onto the data. So what exactly are writables meant for and what is the advantage of it is, you can see writables are implemented in 2 different ways, where I have it's an interface in Hadoop which will help you to reduce the data size. Obviously when you reduce the data size, it is very easy for it to transmit from one machine to the other machine over the network. The size is enormously reduced with the help of this concept, so that you can send the data over the network. Now let's understand what is writable comparable. We understood writable in a better way because writable's main advantage is for the implementation of serialization, which is converting of your object to bytes and bytes to objects, and we have seen wrapper classes where information of your primitive data types will be converted to wrapper classes. So now how you are going to implement this comparable. Now let us see, when you compare two integers, you will tell whether one number is equal to the other, one number is less than the other, one number is greater than the other. In other way or other terms, you can also tell that one number is it falling into negative integer, one number is equals to the same, and the other number is a positive integer. So likewise, we have implemented writable comparable also, as we have seen different wrapper classes existing earlier. So this will be implemented with something called as compare to function. So we already seen these two lines, which are read and write fields. As I told you, when your data is coming out, so when your data is coming from the external PC into your local machine, so the data will be received in terms of bytes. So you have to convert them back into objects to store. So before that, you use this function called as a read fields to store the data. Fields means you are getting the data in the form of bytes. So individual bytes can be, or individual bits can be treated as a field. So you are receiving the fields, a data in, and you are storing the data again onto the local disk. That is the reason why you need something called as output. So you are writing the data onto the local disk, but before that you are reading the data. Now when you are storing the data, you can perform something called as comparison operation also. For example, I am storing my data in my own local disk. If I copy a same file from the external source and I put it onto the same folder, obviously my system wants me telling that this file is already existing. So that is a kind of a comparison is being made inside the device to check whether the same data is existing or not. So like how this comparable will also work. Now you all can see there is something called as a 0 at the end. As I told you, this will hold three different values. One is a negative integer equals to and a positive integer. So those three values will be made comparison when you are implementing this writable comparable. So you can see all these things, as I have told you that 0 holds these three values while storing the data onto the disk. Now we will see something new, that is a raw comparator. See, as of now we have seen writables, as of now we have seen writable comparable. Now we are going to learn something new called as a raw comparator. So I am not taking much slides for explaining, so the same slide is getting repeated. So raw comparator is something which will speed up the sorting operation. As you all are aware of, some kind of MapReduce operations which has been explained earlier in the video lectures. In MapReduce, you always try to compare the key values. So if you got a key that is available to compare very easily of a same type, it is easy for you. Now let me tell you like this, I have an object and I have a byte. Let's understand in this way. I have an object and I have a byte. Can you compare object and byte together to perform any kind of sorting operation? No, because this is related to some other type and this is related to some other type. You cannot compare these two to perform sorting operation. So you need someone to help you to convert it into a same type. Either your object need to be converted to byte, or your byte need to be converted back to an object, so that you will compare two objects or you will compare two bytes while performing the sorting operation. So this raw comparator plays a prominent role while comparing the keys when you are doing some kind of MapReduce operations. So that's what this whole thing explains. So I am just making a differentiation between a comparable as well as a comparator. So this will get a clear idea about comparison between your comparable as well as the comparator. Now let's see. I have something called as comparable. As we have seen, compare to function will help you to make this comparable, writable comparable. So now see this, it provides single sorting sequence. After performing the operation, it provides single sorting sequence, but here you will get multiple sorting sequence. The reason is it is working with key value pairs. So it is helping you to speed up the process of sorting, but it will generate more than one sorting sequence. The next one is, it actually modifies the class that exists, but it does not affect any kind of class operations which you have defined earlier. Now the important thing you need to remember is, if you are going to use this comparable, you have to use this package are the same if you are going to use the comparator, you have to use the same package. So, here comparable is available with java.lang package, languages package. Here comparator is available with java.util, that is utilities package. So, they are different to each other in terms of working functionality as well as the explanation mechanism also. Now, comparable is something like, if you want to implement that, you can implement in this way, like collections.sort of a list, so that your information will be sorted, and here on what basis you are comparing. So, these two different levels of implementations where comparable and comparator are meant for understanding. So, in this lecture we have seen very clearly about Hadoop writables, we have seen very clearly about writable comparable, we have seen clearly about comparator. So, whenever it comes to understanding that, if anyone asks you about Hadoop writable, you cannot simply say a definition, you have to understand the concepts like serialization and wrapper classes very clearly, so to answer the concept of Hadoop writables. So, in the next lecture we will see what are all the different types of writables that are existing, hierarchy diagrams as well as the implementation of the writables. So, see you all in the next lecture. Thank you.